Hello, my name is Lewis and welcome to Gathering the Magic. Today we're looking at the top 10 best Jeskai commanders from MTG. Starting off this list at number 10 we have Pramikon, Sky Rampart. From Commander 2019, this 1/5 wall has Flying Defender and when it ETBs, choose left or right. Each player may only attack the nearest opponent in the chosen direction and planeswalkers controlled by that opponent. Lots of Pramikon decks revolve around those planeswalkers. We're throwing in every one of those devilish planeswalkers because with only one of our opponents able to attack us, we have a much bigger chance of getting to those walkers' ults and being in a position to win the game. We can also increase that chance by playing all of those Staxy staples, make it near impossible for one of our opponents to come at us and we'll be free to go planeswalker positive for the win. Lastly, get in all of those key cards like Oath of Teferi to allow you to activate Planeswalker abilities twice per turn and all of those proliferate loving cards to get you to those ultimate loyalty abilities so quick that you'll make your board impossible to beat before they can even blink. Before we get to number 9, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for all things MTG. Subscribing is completely free to do and it helps our channel grow and grow. You can also show your support by becoming a prickly pal today with our brand new channel membership. For the 9th best Jeskai commander, we have Rauhan of the Fomori. From Commander 2011, this 7/7 giant warrior says at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose an opponent at random. Rauhan attacks that player this combat if able. You bet these Rauhan decks tend to revolve all around that equipment. One of the OG Voltron commander options, Rauhan loves all of that equipment attached to it, so it can smash through your opponent's face for the victory royale. So with that equipment, we want all of those ways to benefit us when they hit the field, and of course those game-changing cards like Sigarda's Aid that will let us get all flashy with those equipment. If you wanted something different and wanted to lean into tribal, you could also go with that giant or warrior too. Especially in Warrior, there are cards to give attackers lifelink or even, more importantly, extra combat phases. Attack more with Rauhan, do more damage and get the win. You love to see it. Next up we have Vadrok, Apex of Thunder. From Ikoria, this 3/3 elemental dino cat has mutate, flying, lifelink, and whenever it mutates you may cast target non-creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. This deck is of course going to revolve all around that mutate, absolutely stacking the 99 with every Ikoria and Ikoria Precon that had mutate in them. And as for those 3 mana value non-creature cards to bring back, go instant and sorcery heavy, have plenty of options of removal, recursion, card draw and even more as we can gain so much value whenever Vadrok mutates. You can also add in a few of those classic protection items too, so if they do end up in the graveyard you can get them straight back out. This is a commander that is not only strong but also very fun to use. A mutate is a mechanic I've said many times that I really hope comes back sooner rather than later. I have no idea though why I'm so biased towards Ikoria. For the next best Jeskai commander we have Zedruu, the Great-Hearted. From Commander 2016, this 2/4 Minotaur Monk says at the beginning of your upkeep you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the number of permanents you own that your opponents control. This deck is all about pure chaos. Fortunately, in Magic, there are dozens of cards that allow you to swap target permanent you control with target permanent your opponents control. We also have cards that we can tap to gain things like card draw and then pass on to our opponents for them to use and hopefully get in their good books for allowing them to do so. We're also going to throw in here the always trusty Gathering the Magic Card of the Deck Award. Here we're giving it to 9 lives. This enchantment says if a source would deal damage to you, put an incarnation counter on it. Exile it when it gets to 9 counters, and when it leaves the field, you lose the game. Not only can you use this card initially to prevent damage, but you can also use Zedruu's ability to pass 9 lives to your opponents and send the lose con straight to them. As we've said, with the ease it is to give your opponents our permanents, it'll be super easy to gain that life, draw those cards, and win the game. Just missing out on the top half we have Narset, Enlightened Master. Originally from Khans of Tarkir, this 3/2 human monk has first strike hexproof and when it attacks, exile the top 4 cards of your library. Until end of turn you may cast non-creature cards exiled by Narset this turn without paying their mana cost. Most Narset decks lean very much towards those extra turns. Get out Narset as quick as possible, get that exile trigger and play all of those extra turns for free, attack with Narset on your extra turn and unleash a wild circle of extra turns. Once Narset comes out onto the field, it will be an instant target, so get in those ways to give her haste and go swinging straight away. With her ability, we can cast these cards without paying their mana costs, so go absolutely wild in this deck and play every disgusting card you can think of. get out that Omniscience for free, and then play every other spell you have from your hand for free. That is devilishly disgusting. This is a great and powerful commander that once starts attacking can be very hard to control. In at number 5 we have Hinata, Dawn Crowned. Fresh from Neon Dynasty, this 4/4 Kirin Spirit has flying and trample. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each target, and spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast for each target. Many Hinata decks are all about those X spells. Firstly, we're creating a big wide army, using all of those ways we have to create small tokens. Then using an abundance of X spells to destroy creatures, artifacts, draw cards, steal creatures, and much, much more. Thanks to Hinata's ability, spells we're casting cost 1 less to cast for each target, so all of those normally expensive to cast cards are suddenly becoming almost free, especially if we're playing those cards to cheapen spells even more. Finally, as well as having those stacksy X spells, throw in a good chunk of counter spells so we can control the game and get the win. If you did want to see a full budget brew we did on Hinata, then check it out in the description box below. Just missing out on the top 3 we have Brallin, Skyshark Rider, and Shabraz the Skyshark. From Commander 20, this partner pairing say whenever you discard a card, put a 1/1 counter on Brallin and it deals 1 damage to each opponent, and whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on Shabraz and gain 1 life. Both with options to give each other trample or flying. These decks tend to go wheelie crazy. Throw in several ways to discard our hand, draw a new one and ping our opponents for loads of damage. Beef up our creatures and start doing even more big damage with our commanders. The big brain damage play comes from cards like Curiosity. Attached to Brallin, find ways to discard your cards. Brallin deals 1 damage. If we have 3 opponents, that's 3 cards drawn thanks to Curiosity. If you have too many cards in hand, you'll have to discard down to hand size and ping until your opponents are dead. We also have a couple more cards like Curiosity and MTG, so if you get a few of these out on the board, then our opponents will be dead before you know it. Taking the bronze medal spot we have Elsha of the Infinite. From Commander 2019, this 3/3 Djinn Monk with Prowess says you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast the top card of your library if it's a non-creature, non-land card, and you may cast it as though it had flash. These Elsha decks tend to focus on that spell slinging. As we can't use Elsha to cast creatures or lands, we're going to play in all of those cards that cheapen the casting cost of those instant or sorceries. We're going to be casting so many instants or sorceries, we also want all of those cards that will give us even more value when we do cast them, either by drawing us some more cards, getting us some treasure and plenty more. Then we'll either have big token armies thanks to those instant or sorceries, or have bigger creatures that will help overwhelm our opponents either by pinging them to death or destroying with our big token army. That is some spicy stuff. Runner up and the second best commander is Gavi Nest Warden. From the Commander 20 Precon, this human shaman says you may pay 0 rather than paying the cycling cost of the first card you cycle each turn. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 Dino Cat creature token. You bet this deck is all about that cycling. Thanks to it being a long-standing mechanic, there are hundreds of cycle-loving cards that we can pack into this deck. And if they have a big cycling cost, it really doesn't matter, as if it's the first card on your turn, you can reduce that cost to nothing. There are also plenty of cards that support your cycling needs to help you scry, give other cards cycling, and even counter spells. The synergy is strong with this one. Plenty of ways to try and get the win here, from using already seen cards in this list, to big recursion, to having a big wide army, or just having an instant kill spell like Zenith Flare to instantly ping your opponents in the face. Wasn't Ikoria just incredible?
Get a room, you two!
Winner and the best Jeskai commander is Kykar Wind's Fury. This 3/3 bird wizard with flying says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit token with flying. We can also sack a spirit to add a mountain. This deck is so popular because there are just so many different strategies here. Do you want to go spell slinger? Then go wild, create a big bird army and fly over your opponents for the win. Maybe you want to focus on those spirits that are being made, boost your spirits, play even more spirit creatures and get a big, bad unstoppable army and cruise over your opponents, dealing all of that damage. There's even low mana value cantrip decks that are just super popular. Draw through your deck whilst getting that big spirit army and then just search out a route in your deck for that win con. There are so many ways you can build around that this is not only a very unique commander, but one that's also fun and powerful. There we have it, that is the Jeskai list. Thanks for watching and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for all things MTG. Check out our link tree in the description below for all of our social media and affiliate links. For now though, I'm all tapped out, so I'll see you in the next video.